Hi everybody, David Lockwood here again, and this is the second video of the series, and this is where I'm going to share with you how I was introduced to my guides. Now before that, I wasn't having that much to do with that or being able to do it. I was doing some tarot, I was doing some astrology, I was doing all the things that most people can get a book and learn and lay some cards down or look it up in books about your date you were born and astrology charts. So I was doing that, and I guess I was hoping for something else to happen because it takes a long time to do all that stuff. And if you're not in tune, especially with tarot cards, you can have a completely wrong reading. So what happened is that I see I'm a believer that there's people that will cross your path that are meant to cross your path because they need to bring you to another step, another level. And so they create with you the experience for you to make that jump. And so I had, believe it or not, it was I was delivering a bed. A friend of mine owned a bedding company and said, "Can you fill in for a guy for one day?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, no problem." So um, I would give the driver a hand to get beds up these old houses, the stairs, which were so steep. Anyway, I ended up meeting this woman that was, at the time, was older than I was by about 20 years. And that's neither here nor there. And I knew something clicked when I rounded the corner with the bed. And we talked a little bit and for some reason I left my number. And we talked later on, not that same day, but we talked later on, and she was very spiritual, and she wanted me to come to a spiritual group that she belonged to, and I was so resistant. Like, I mean, you couldn't twist my arm or give me a fistful of 50s to go to a spiritual meeting at the time. And so finally I felt, well, I'm not being fair here, so yeah, I'll go. So it was an organization that came out of Indonesia, Jakarta, and so I went with them. And the the um, the men worship separately in a place than the women do. So they had a building, and they had two halls, one upstairs, one downstairs. Downstairs the men were there, and upstairs the women were there. Now, the whole idea of this is that, you do meditation first. So you've got your thumb and your middle finger in a meditative position, and your legs are crossed, and you're sitting on the floor. Eyes are closed. And once you get a feeling, you stand up. Eyes closed. Everybody's eyes are closed. And if you're moved, you start walking around the room with your eyes closed. Nobody hit anybody else. It was as if you were just surrendered to the spirit, and the spirit was guiding you around the room. It was pretty cool. And so at the end of the session, that was great. I came back for another one with her, and and she had a daughter at the time, and she was there also. And so the next session that I was there, I stood up, and then I'm just standing there, and I hear David, and it caused me to open my eyes. I thought somebody was calling me from the stairs or something like that, and everybody was just in their meditative states and standing or just starting to move, and I didn't see anybody waving to say or motioning, come up the stairs or something. So I closed my eyes again, and um, I'm standing there again meditating. I hear David, and I said yes, and they said, we're your guides, and we want to introduce ourselves. And I said, okay. And anyway, we talked, and that was pretty nice to be introduced to them. And anyway, that was the first time. And I went upstairs, and I after it all finished, and I told them my experience, and everybody was looking at me kind of weird. And I found that a lesson I learned is that this group had elders, and if they hadn't experienced what you were talking about, then they doubted what you were sharing. And a perfect case of that was one of the sessions I had downstairs with the men. I'm standing there, and I felt a presence. And I felt like somebody was walking around me, looking at me, and it turned out that it was Jesus. And Jesus was walking around, looking at me, and then he vanished. He left. And when I went upstairs and I told everybody about it, oh my God, the looks, the doubt, the well, why you and not us, and all the rest. So I learned that a lot of people are just cannot handle that it would happen to somebody who's the first time comer or hasn't been doing this for very long, and instead of expressing the joy that happened to you, it was like, oh, I doubt very much if it was that, and instead of being happy and saying, oh, that's wonderful. So that kind of soured me a little bit, but it gave me a lesson that not everybody is ready to hear what you have to say. Just like this series of videos, I'm sure it's going to stir a lot of people, and you're not going to believe it verbatim or anything just because I'm the one who said it, or because I declare that I have fifth dimension telepathy. But yeah, it was a really negative experience. But I didn't leave it as a negative experience. I left it as a positive one, and I still shared with everybody, and they had to go home with the doubt and kind of sorted out how they were feeling and why they were feeling that way. But so I was introduced to my guides, and that was the first time that it happened. So my next video, I have to do these in short, like less than 10-minute videos, which is okay. And so the next one that I'm going to do is to share with you how my guides helped us, and it's fascinating. So until then, I bid you farewell for now, and then we will get to the next one. Thanks very much.